Diofield Chronicles, the demo is rather impressive demo I probably have played in a long time. Currently right now the demo is available to play and it goes through the beginning of the game showcasing what Diofield has to offer from story and cinematic scenes to how the actual gameplay runs using Square Enix's new battle system. This episode will focus on my first hour into Diofield, testing out the different combat and characters and how they work with each other and exploring what the demo has to offer. But before we get into the nitty gritty of Diofield Chronicles, let's talk about what is Diofield Chronicles. Diofield is published by Square Enix, and the main point of the entire demo is to showcase some of the story and the beginnings of the game and to introduce the new real-time tactical battle, or deemed as RTTB, which is a brand new, deeply strategic, real-time battle system, which Square Enix says is the beginnings of a new strategy RPG crafted by a skilled and experienced development team. So this is more of a different spin on a real-time strategy game, but with a weird way behind it, which I will actually explain a bit further on in the video. Diofield will release worldwide to all consoles and PC September 22nd, 2022, so about a couple of weeks from now actually, and you can pre-order it right now for $60 and you get a couple of cool stuff. Like you get a board game and a lot of other stuff. It's pretty cool. I'll have the image on screen for you guys. So let's talk about the gameplay. Now, the combat is quite interesting. As I was saying earlier, it is a mix of real-time strategy and action combat. That's like my first initial impression of what I thought what that was, or as Square Enix is calling it, the RTTB system. So the game works in two ways. You have your main combat in the field, which follows a isometric field of view and a RTS, but more action combat spin on it. Other than the combat, you are spending your time talking to NPCs and following the storyline in the base, which changes your isometric view to more of a third-person view. The combat is probably my favorite thing to do during this demo, as it can get quite hectic, and the way you're able to handle situations differently depending on how you start your battles. It feels as if the game isn't turn-based in real time. I love the way the combat is in this game. Like, this combat feels new and refreshing, and it definitely gives a sense of urgency when you're in the middle of playing. I do love how frantic the pacing of the combat can become when you're switching from ally to ally, using whatever skill can actually help you out, using a stun skill to stop the enemy from doing a major and huge attack, all the skills while you're trying to pay attention and think of the best tactic you can to clear the mission. Now, another thing which has Square Enix written all over it, Final Fantasy is written all over it, there are monster summons in the game. So one of the first monster summons you can actually play as, utilize, is Bahamut. He does insane amount of damage, and I promise you he can get you out of any type of situation. And you can utilize them in a way by basically saving up enough meter, which the game basically explains is a way to summon him, but you can't do it any other way without collecting the orbs throughout your entire time in the middle of your fights. But once you do summon him, you can place him down, and he does this whole cool animation cinematic scene, fires a ball of energy down, and it just does insane damage. I love it so much, and it's probably one of my favorite things to do in this game. While you're out and about and you're out here fighting enemies and stuff, you will at some point die. So if a character does get down, you can simply revive them or heal them with your mage who is in your party. Which I would say, please, for the love of God, anybody that plays this game, please keep your mage in the party, because she saved my life so many times, and if you definitely build her up, she can do an insane amount of damage. Now I want to do a quick little slide over to a little bit of the graphical side of things. The game looks outright beautiful, even the cinematic scenes look so good, and I swear, Square Enix doesn't miss. They just can't miss, bro. They just can't miss. Like, literally all you can do is just watch how good and I'm playing on my PC, and it just looks good. I got a 3060 Ti, and the cinematics, I can't get over it, like how good it looks. I'm like, man, Square Enix, like every game they dropped recently, it just looks good. But what I can say is for some people who aren't too much on the storytelling side and want to get right into the action, well, bucko, I'm going to need you to sit back and relax during this gameplay, as during cutscenes, they cannot be skipped. Trust me, I have tried, and they are lengthy. So there is no immediate skip the cutscene. You will be watching it wholeheartedly. You can't skip it. I think that's probably the demo. Probably might change when the actual game comes out, but I know I tried hitting escape. I tried hitting spacebar, enter, nothing worked. So sit back, get some popcorn, watch it out. So moving on from there, other than how good the graphics are, the cutscenes, let's go a little bit more into what you should expect when you're playing through different missions. So anytime you do start a mission, you're allowed to upgrade your units, buy stuff from the shop, and of course edit your team, which is a pretty cool thing just in case you forgot to do so prior before entering a mission. So when you're in your base, you can do all that extra stuff, but just in case when you aren't in that and you kind of forget, you just get ready for the next one, the game does a second reminder like, hey, do you want to do this before you start? Which is honestly pretty good. I actually enjoy that. So just in case I do forget, which I actually did forget probably beforehand, I was like, oh, I can do it right now. And it worked perfectly fine. But after your first main mission, you can finally learn about your skill trees and classes, which in this game, there's about 4 of them, which is the soldier, which holds the front and protects your allies, so your tank. The cavalier, which has high mobility and can disrupt enemies, so more of like a dexterity-based, assassin-based character. Your sharpshooter, who can attack from afar. And of course a mage, someone who actually supports your allies with magic. Most of their kit is going to be utilized with magic. You can also upgrade each class skill tree, which will affect whoever can be in that class. So you'll obtain a bunch of characters throughout the time of you playing this, and you can upgrade that skill tree for that class, which would then upgrade the characters in that class. You also have options in the shop, which you have plenty of. You can buy 9 different weapon types for your units, all the way to accessories and such for them. And the game really will pick the pace up and difficulty up when you come across Diofield's first boss encounter, which I'm going to tell you this right now, guys. They clapped me. I was fighting for my life. So let me paint you the scenario. You got 2 monsters who work very well together, as one is a shield and the other one is a sword. And the game states this boss encounter or many more has more than 1 health bar, and a fight gets even more intense, and by God, it got intense. I didn't know what to do left and right. These guys were aggressive. They were doing heavy amount of damage. Like, it almost felt like I was hopeless. I didn't know what to do. And that's where that difficulty of like the game is humbling you. Felt like I was playing Dark Souls for like 2 seconds. I'm like, the game is humbling you. Like, hey, don't think you hot stuff now. You just know they got to worry about these guys who can literally probably body you and send you back to the Shadow Realm, Jimbo. But let's get into my final thoughts of what I think about Diofield Chronicle's demo. The takeaway I have for you guys is, I feel Diofield Chronicles can bring in fans of the RTS genre with its own spin on the combat system. It will be a good game for players who aren't used to or haven't played games that are turn-based or RTS. It was definitely a refresher for me, since it's been a long time since I played a turn-based game, other than mobile gacha games, or a real-time strategy game like something of like StarCraft and stuff like that. Over the years, Square Enix has started trying new stuff on how they approach slow turn-based combat, and been trying new stuff every possible way, like with the recent remake of Final Fantasy VII, and their newer games that they're coming out with. It's just a different way of doing it. And of course, they're trying new stuff every possible way. I'm actually quite happy about the innovation Square Enix has helped publish and what they can bring to the table at all times. From the beautiful storytelling games and new combat or different takes on combat to make it interesting. Diofield Chronicles is a beautiful step forward and feels like another banger Square Enix is releasing this year. If you want to check out any of my other Square Enix RPG content, I'll leave a card at the end of the video. And as always, has been your host, KSDTV, here at Chaotic Inc., signing out. Peace.
I don't sleep, that's so weak, don't plan to rest. I'm from a hood where you die if you don't pack a vest. No culinary degrees, but whipping crack the best. Chefing, hard times taught lessons. Praying every night to pull up in park Benzes. What's my home is what you call trenches. You wouldn't last a day seeing life through all lenses. It's all tension, no sun and rain and plenty. Full-time job, still can never make a penny. I ain't rapping